Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Next year, on the 9th day of August 2022, Kenyans will be going to the polls to elect their new member of parliament, to elect their MCs, their women rep, their senator, their governor, and their president. And based on the past experiences, Kenyans are prone to committing political mistakes during the voting day. In this video today, I want us to try and figure out the mistakes which Kenyans normally make during elections. I want to give only 5, and I'll give you a chance to add 2 or 3 in the comment section. But before we do that, if you're watching this channel for the first time, I want you to take a second or 2, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to make a request to you guys. Please give this particular video thumbs up, because by doing that, you are actually promoting this channel, and I really appreciate. Now let us get back to business, and I want to try to be as brief as possible. Kenya is the only country where we go to elections today. 1 week later, we start complaining about our leaders. Why are we like that? We can't live with the consequences of our choices. Today in this country, for example, President Uhuru Kenyatta is really hated by the people who voted for him 3 times. They voted for him in 2013, despite complaints about overborrowing, despite the complaints about corruption, despite all those complaints, they voted for him again in 2017 on 2 occasions. So Kenyans are prone to making mistakes. Where I come from, Migosi ward in Kisumu here, the former MCA was a good guy. Then from nowhere, someone just came, people elected him. Every time I pass there, they tell me that the guy has failed them. So I keep on asking them, why were you electing him in the first place? So the truth of the matter is that in this country, voters are prone to making several political mistakes. The first mistake Kenyans make is that on the election day, they leave their heads or their brains at home. They don't think. I want to take you to Kiamba. Just recently, the people of Kiamba went to the polls to elect their new member of parliament. They elected someone who is completely unknown to them. They left someone who has stood with them, who was always there with them. During that campaign in Kiamba, I observed something which was very good. Leaders would come from all over the country and camp in that constituency. They would organize shopping extravaganzas. Today, that's not happening. And I was reading a comment on Facebook by someone from that constituency. He was actually regretting why they voted out the other guy. So that's Kenyans. During elections day, we leave our heads or our brains at home. I want to appeal to Kenyans, the next time we go to the polls, please don't leave your head or your brain at home. Carry it. The moment you'll be having that ballot box and you have the papers and the pen to mark, figure out who are you going to vote for. Me personally in Kisumu, I voted for the people I wanted to vote for. Those I never wanted to vote for, I never voted for them. And I'm not complaining. I've actually told my friends that for me, I never voted for this guy, I never voted for this guy. So I'll not complain. So we need to start thinking with our heads and carry it on until the ballot day. That's the first mistake, leaving our heads or our brains at home. The second mistakes Kenyans make, which is normally very common, is that Kenyans normally go to the polls to vote out leaders. We don't go to the polls to vote in leaders. Generally, what normally happens, I want to use the example of, for example, Nairobi. In the last election, there are Kenyans who went to the polls in Nairobi specifically to vote out Kidero. For them, it didn't matter who was being voted in. And that's the reality. If you look at the entire country, the moment a leader becomes unpopular, then they vote him out instead of voting in someone. And this is what politicians have taken advantage of. I can give several examples across. If you go to a place called Tharaka Nithi, the former governor was trying. That governor became unpopular at some stage. And because he became unpopular, the people there decided to vote him out. So they voted in a former member of parliament, who is now the current governor. The same mistakes that guy was making is the same mistakes this guy is making. And in fact, this guy is even worse. So Kenyans need to learn that on elections day, they should go to the polls not to vote out someone, but to vote in someone. The moment you go to vote in someone, then it means you'll get someone you want, the right candidate. The moment you go to vote out someone, it means you'll end up electing anything. And that's why these circles of complaining every single election is coming up. So Kenyans, let us focus. Let us vote in leaders. If you don't want someone, kick him out, but figure out that who is coming in. The third mistake is that Kenyans don't elect people based on issues. We elect people based on euphoria, based on parties, based on tribe, based on religion. And that's the sad reality. So that someone who is corrupt, someone who cannot, like for example, if you come from the coast and your issues are land issues, then you even end up electing someone who is involved in land grabbing. You elect people who don't know anything about economy. You elect people not based on issues. I would have wished that, if possible, in the next election, let us elect people based on what they stand for. If Raila Odinga is going to run for the presidency and you want to vote for Raila Odinga, take a pen and a paper and list down the reasons why you feel you should elect Raila Odinga. If it's about reforms, take. If you feel he can bring change, take. If you feel Raila can fight corruption, take. If you think he can change the economy for the better, take. If you feel you are going to vote for Ruto, don't vote for Ruto because you are angry with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Or don't vote for Ruto because you hate Raila Odinga. Vote for Ruto because you believe he can fight corruption. You believe because he's talking of economy, he can change the economy of the country. You feel he can change a lot of things in your life. He can create jobs. List all those reasons and then vote for him. Don't, as a country, let us not vote for people based on our emotions. Let us vote for them based on issues. The fourth mistake we make is tribal influence. I don't know, I'm a Luo. Why do you think I support Raila Odinga? Am I supporting Raila Odinga because he's a Luo? Or am I supporting Raila Odinga because he's not a Luo? You are a Kikuyu. Are you supporting, or did you vote for Uhuru because Uhuru Kenyatta was a Kikuyu, or because Uhuru Kenyatta was the best bet? You are a Kalenjin. Are you supporting Ruto because Ruto is a fellow Kalenjin? Or are you supporting Ruto because Ruto is the best bet for you? During elections, let me use the case of Nairobi. In Nairobi, if you study the voting pattern, there's a way it normally happens. There's normally the Kikuyus on the other side, and then the alliance of Western Kenya. That is the Luyas, the Kisis, the Luyas, the Kisis, and the Luos. Then they team up with the coastal people. That's how the voting pattern in those towns are. To an extent that there are specific constituencies in Nairobi where you know that here the chance of a Luo winning is very high. Here, the chance of a lawyer winning is very high. Like, for example, today William Ruto was in Kawangware and he was introducing Mariga. It's like Mariga is now going to shift base from Kibra to come and fight with Arati, who is a Kisi, in Dagoretti North, because down there, lawyers are the majority. So that's how politics in this country is. So tribal politics. We need to do away with that. If I vote for Raila, it should be because it's good for me. If I'm not supporting Ruto the way I'm not going to support him, it's because of the reasons which are well known to me. But not because Ruto is a Kalenjin and Raila is a Luo, and therefore I must support Raila Odinga. Let us make our choices not based on the tribe. The fifth mistake is that we don't put our leaders to account. And this is the biggest problem. Let me use the case of Uhuru Kenyatta. In the first term of Jubilee rule, there was a lot of corruption in this country. Then we went to the polls. The same corruption was never a factor to the people who voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. When we went to the polls, there was overborrowing in this country. Again, the same overborrowing was never a factor to those who supported President Uhuru Kenyatta. There was unemployment because companies had started laying off people, and we could see NASA coalition would highlight this. But this was never a factor to these guys. President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto made promises to Kenyans. In 2013, they promised Kenyans laptops. In 2017, again, we still voted for them without asking them what happened to the laptop projects. In 2013, they promised Kenyans millions of jobs for the youths. They promised Kenyans paid internship. Again, we still went to the polls, elected them without questioning their jobs, the paid internships. So basically, our mistake is that we don't put our leaders to account. And this is why sometimes I love Professor Nyang' Nyong'o. In Kisumu, there are certain things he promised to do. If you go to his manifesto, there are specific things he promised that I'm going to do this in first 100 days, I'm going to relocate the dump site, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. If you look at what he's doing, he's kind of working based on those particular manifesto. As much as he's not meeting some of the targets, but you can tell that he's doing this and he's doing this. But we are in a country where we don't put our leaders to account. Corruption in this country is now a way of life. Why? Because we are not putting our leaders to account. I don't know what you think. What other mistakes do you know which Kenyans are prone to making? I want to start doing these kinds of videos so that at least we can educate our people can learn, because I strongly believe that change must begin with us. IBC, in my view, should be disbanded. That should form the basis of my video tomorrow, because I strongly believe that the way IBC is currently constituted, I don't think it can deliver a free and fair, credible elections. Because ultimately, as long as Kenyans don't have faith, not all Kenyans, because in a process you can't have all Kenyans, then how are they going to perform? If ODM is accusing IBC, for example, that Chebukati should go, how will Chebukati do things in a way that will build confidence on the other side? I don't know what you think, but that's going to be my next video. Probably also you could also identify for me the topic you want me to discuss. I don't know what you think. Bye-bye.